Exciting 60 minutes on TV. We call it Journalist Hangout. Welcome. I'm Citizen Jones Hussein. Now, today on the program, President Tinubu says there is no instant solution to the problems of Nigeria. He argues that today's challenges are meant for a better tomorrow. But I'm hanging out with Babajide Kolade Utitoju, BKO. I greet you.
Yes, Citizen.
We also have Emeka Madunagu joining us.
Yes,
Emeka,
good evening, Citizen. Good evening, viewers.
So the team is ready. I hope you are. Okay, then, let's start from Calabar. You know, one poignant lesson of history is that man hardly learns from history. For the Dean of the Faculty of Law, Professor Cyril Ndifon, human behavior may have changed, but human nature remains the same. The management of the University of Calabar has suspended the Professor of Law over alleged violation of the provisions of the extant laws and policies of the institution. Having a dirty mind is not all bad, but a sexy imagination is missing the point altogether.
What we are talking about is beyond sexy
Imagination.
Yeah. This is
Indulgent.
putting sexual ideas to reality. That's exactly what this guy is accused of doing. He conceives those ideas in his head and he goes ahead to practicalize what he has conceived in his head. So that's a man going way beyond what you were talking about in your opening remarks. It's unfortunate that a man who has gone this far was allowed to last in the university for this long. Many of his victims have even graduated from the university. Many can't step forward to say, look, this is what this fellow did to me. But the protest against him after his return to the university has already garnered about 494 signatures, which means that we are dealing with a very serious matter. And yes, sexually transmitted marks are common in universities. Many times the student willingly agrees to go through copulation with their teachers in return for good grades. But this particular lecturer or academic is even accused of forcefully having carnal knowledge of his students. Because one of the parents...
At his office?
Yes. We just overpower them, and so he doesn't even take no for an answer. And that's where it's different to a lot of the guys, a lot of the sex addicts on campuses calling themselves lecturers. That's where he is different, because he will, if you say no, he will go ahead, yes, to have it with you. Some, if you tell them no, they will go and wait for you. At the time of the examination, they will now fail you. You know, they make sure that you get extra semester, extra session and all that. But this one wants to have his way all the a man who clearly has found it difficult to control the affairs of his crotch. And it's such a terrible thing. Those kind of people do not deserve to hang around the ivory towers. They do not belong there at all. They should send them somewhere else where they can liberally fulfill their coital desires.
But you know, at a time like this, Perhaps one profound Yoruba saying that comes to mind here will suffice. It says, "Ashekpamolewa, ashekbeosi," meaning you may hide it, but you can't do wrong and go scot-free.
That's what ashegbe means. Because when you say ashegbe, that means you've done it and no one can even ask you a question. You've done it, you've got away with it. But parents sometimes confide in their parents. Students will sometimes confide in their parents that, look, this is what happened to me. And look at a student who is now in law school, came out to say, look, he tried to sleep with me, but I stood my ground and no, you are not going to get in between my thighs. So we need to find a way to kick this kind of academics out of the system.
Emeka, let me reveal something to you. A man's name is Professor Cyril Ndifon Ibmai Ibibio. Will not disappoint me. Ndifon means the one that is good.
Good at what?
The one that is good.
Morally or in terms of his skill?
The one that is good.
Well, sometimes some of these hanging, when you have hanging meanings, they become meaningless.
So don't interrogate the name, but I'm saying it's been a long time coming. But, man does not learn from history.
That's even clearly what I was trying to push.
Yeah.
From his name. He didn't really understand that his name, in a context, placed a huge moral burden
on him.
This is not just on him, on anybody who bears that name. This is a huge moral burden. And so you could now take the name in a different direction. Good at what? But that's by the way. But it's really unfortunate that we're still grappling with these issues. Issues we were talking so much about in the 80s. They're still grappling with these issues. And then ASU has been challenged a number of times on this thing. And I don't know what they have done. Internal cleansing mechanism that ASU has to weed away these people. It should not be a paddy thing, because that is what you see in many cases. University authorities will find a way to bury these things.
To realize that he was once in this mess and he got free.
For even a university of the standing of Unical, University of Calabar, I'm disappointed. I must say this, I'm highly disappointed.
And they let him come back.
Because, you see, the unfortunate thing is that the standards in many sectors in this country have fallen so badly that people even just feel, well, is it a big deal? So such abominable, abhorrent things have become like common fare, not a big deal now. Is he not a man? But look at these people. They are little children. Impressionable youngsters who just want to get an education and reading law. So if you teach them that this is the way to succeed in society, then you turn around tomorrow to claim that there are women who make it to the top through certain means. It is not fair. People like this should be put, it's not just an investigation, he should be prosecuted. If he's found wanting, he should be prosecuted. It should not just be about, one administrative panel, he should be prosecuted and jailed.
Thank you, Emeka. We must go to our next story, but not before saying this. Professor Ndifon's story is a metaphor for what's happening around the country. I hope we home in on what we should do. Let me end it there. To our next story, hard drugs, I must say, take you to hell, disguised as heaven, if you understand what I mean. Now, and for Aziz Adesina Fashola, the singer and songwriter known professionally as Naira Marley, the goal is to love yourself so much that you don't need any drug. The controversial performer paid a visit to the headquarters of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, where he met with the chief executive of the anti-drug agency, retired Brigadier General Buba Marwa. Now hear him, quote, "I would like to urge my fans, the Malians, and all Nigerian youths to stop doing drugs because it is not good for your health or for your well-being," end quote. Now, social media users have reacted to the visit, asking why a singer who smokes could be allowed into the premises of the NDLEA. Now, who is wrong here? Who is right? But first, let's hear from Naira Marley himself.
Yeah, well, my people, you know what it is. It's your boy Naira Marley. I would like to urge my fans, the Malians, and all the Nigerian youths to stop doing drugs because it's not good for your well-being. Let's all stop substance abuse in any form. I've keyed into this campaign to support NDLEA to stop drugs on the street. Please join us. It's really not good. It makes you go back into crime. It does a lot of things to you. Thank you very much.
Emeka, you can only hope the message will get home.
Yeah, but like they say on the streets, we no one here tomorrow say another thing happen. What am I saying? That we don't want him to come out tomorrow and say maybe he was forced to say what he said. It's good, somebody like that.
Would he have been forced to go to the NDLEA?
Well, we never know what could have happened behind the scenes. But really, if you know him, I mean, he's not somebody who he doesn't pretend about his affiliation with those kinds of things. I mean, if you see the way he raps those things, I mean, I watched those videos. And then his songs, the lyrics, or the lyrics, you just wonder, what's really going on? So I hope he did this out of a clear conviction because it's going to send a strong message. Drug abuse is a major problem in Nigeria today. If he did it out of a clear conviction, it's a
substance abuse.
Yeah, substance abuse, not just drugs. Substance, people are abusing different kinds of substances. If he did it out of a clear conviction, I'll be very happy because it will send a strong message to youths out there, impressionable youths who think that substance abuse is the way to get their balance. It will send a strong message to them that these things don't pay. And, of course, down the line, it will also help in terms of redirecting some of, a lot of misguided youths who have actually lost their way. And also help in terms of rehabilitating those who are in hospitals in some of these places where such people are being taken care of. I think, yes, a good initiative by NDLEA, but, people have reacted and saying that, no, why this? But, well, okay, NDLEA, we give it to them that they made the judgment, they made the right call, they made the right judgment. But it should resonate with the youths so that we don't hear tomorrow that him saying that it was due to this or this or this. Because I saw him reading from a phone. So I just hope
he took it from a text.
From a text. But, I mean, why did he have to read from a phone? He could have said it from his own because his lyrics, when you see his videos and all, he doesn't sing from a phone. He sings into the camera and all of that, those things he does. So I hope he was truly convinced to, and I just sincerely hope, and I hope other artists like himself who promote some of these things, I hope they will take a cue from me and also key into that NDLEA initiative.
Jide, when we say the media is the message, are we saying in the media we say the message? How do we put it? The
focus on the message, not the message.
The message. I had it in my head. But so are we looking at the message going home, sinking home? Yeah.
I hope so.
The medium is a message. That's what I wanted to.
Yes.
I hope so. I don't think that many people are convinced that Marley meant what he said. And that's why people are saying, Kai, we joke too much in this country. But if we are looking for a figure that we can use, to drive illicit drug away from the hearts of our young people, it certainly cannot be someone who has been one of the biggest promoters of illicit drug use in our country. He's done songs in which he was glorifying it. He's done songs where he was
glorifying handguns and
especially cannabis sativa.
yeah,
You know, cannabis sativa is native to our country.
yeah,
So the consumption, the cultivation, the consumption of cannabis sativa, which is popularly called Indian hemp, is an industrial level in our country. These days, to find a young man or a young woman who is not a smoker of Indian hemp is difficult. It's like this generation believes that if they do not smoke Indian hemp, that
if you're not high on something.
Yes, and Naira Marley and others like him, popular artists like him, who make so much noise about smoking Indian hemp, they are the ones who have literally made it so popular with our young people. But they are destroying people's lives.
Yeah.
He's done some songs. You know, his songs are generally very lurid, very dirty. You know,
but popular with the youth.
Yes, popular with young people, although it will seem now that it's gone down a bit, not like 3 years ago, you know, when he was so highly sought after. But credit to him, he's been able to produce an artist that has tremendous talent. There's a boy called Zinoliski, one of the most underrated but extremely talented musicians in our country. He's under his label. He will appear to have taken a back seat at this time because it's no longer the rave of the moment. But he done songs talking about women's big buttocks, this and that, and in the process, he was saying, "Oma seba mugbomi, give me my Indian hemp," you know. And people sing all these songs. They sing after him
Gleefully.
That means he's promoting it, is making it popular. And what the NDLEA guys are saying, because people have been attacking them, that look, if we see this boy smoking their hemp again, then we'll fight the NDLEA. But the NDLEA claims that they did not invite him. He just came on their own to say, look, on his own to say, I want to key into your agenda, to fight illicit drugs. Yes, on his own, he came. And you know it's difficult. Someone who has always been one of the apostles of Indian hemp smoking in our country, for him to come to you and say, look, I like what you are doing, I want to fight, join you in fighting India, you are not going to turn that person away. At least you listen to his message. So he also told them that he's going to sing songs condemning consumption of illicit drugs. So I'm taken aback. I don't like being dismissive of people.
You are adopting a look-see attitude?
I don't like being dismissive of people.
Okay.
Because sometimes they can really shock you. People can be sometimes very unpredictable. So this boy who is known to even, in fact, in recent times, he's tried to portray himself as another fella in terms of the audacity with which he wraps the thing, the size,
very big,
the size of the Indian hemp, and in terms of being seen consuming it. So for him to say he's now going to be doing songs condemning it, that's the promise I made to them. That look, I will do songs to condemn this. Who knows? Maybe his own Damascus moment came. You know, when your Damascus moment comes, people should know that all things are passed away.
Yeah.
I wish that is what has happened. I wish his Damascus moment just came and he walked up to NDL to say, gentlemen, I'm ready to join you in this fight. I'm not interested. So let us see. Let's give him that benefit of the doubt. Although people, he must know that we will be on the lookout for him now. We will be watching because this thing is difficult to give up. Even cigarette smoking. Cigarette smoking is extremely difficult to give up. I've been a smoker myself.
Yes, I too.
I stopped smoking, believe it, April 11, 1980. Please don't go
After
there.
many years of
Since
business.
Please, the day I stopped was remarkable. I don't want to recall it. But quitting smoking
You
is
tell me once we leave this program.
We go talk about them. I hope it doesn't.
It's not easy to give up.
I hope it doesn't.
Just like Indian hemp, it's not easy to give up.
But I didn't take Indian hemp. Yeah, Jide, we must move on. But I hope that Malians are listening to us and they heard him.
I know it's difficult for you people to give it up, but your leader has said this thing is not good. So
that's it.
Please,
So be it.
Malians, let's see you give up Indian hemp.
And followers of other artists too. Followers of other artists.
Yes, yeah.
I don't want to mention their names, but they know themselves.
No, it's very rife in the entertainment.
A lot of those young artists.
People think that they cannot be high, that they can't be at their creative best.
Except
that the creative juices will not flow until they've taken Indian hemp. And even little boys and girls these days. Any little party, you see
like
an
drinking.
18-year-old
Cookies, drug cookies, selling them on this. But
I hear say, Emeka, I hear say you dare not go to a party and ask to have a sip of a soft drink.
yes.
If you understand what I mean.
Even cake. They bake cake and put it.
Oh, yeah. All sorts. All right, to our next story. You know, organized labor has knocked the federal government for releasing 180 billion naira palliative package to states to cushion the impact of the fuel subsidy removal. As far as the Nigeria Labour Congress, NLC, and the Trade Union Congress, TUC of Nigeria, are concerned, governors could not be trusted, noting that politicians and not the poor will benefit from the 5 billion naira largesse to be given to each state for disbursement to the citizens. Are you smiling, Irad?
Well, I don't know. This palliative thing has gone from one phase to the other. First, it was 8,000. Then at the point, we had about 10,000 buses to be distributed. Now 5 billion to
Each state.
So, and I wonder why it was a flat figure. I don't know if it was agreed at NEC, the National Economic Council, that to be a flat figure because the challenges in terms of subsidy removal are not the same for all the states.
Yes.
The challenges in Lagos are different from the challenges in Borno, for instance.
Standard of living varies.
You can't, the way you see the governor of Borno sharing rice to people, you won't, expect someone, for instance, to sit people and be giving them bags of rice. The challenges are different. I think, like in Lagos, if there are buses powered by CNG, enough buses powered by CNG, I mean, already the buses you have, the BRC buses, are actually helping a lot in terms of moving thousands of people every day. So if they are now powered by CNG, in addition to the expected conversion, the expected introduction of electric buses, I don't know if they've been introduced, but if you put CNG buses and electric powered buses side by side in a place like Lagos, I think it will significantly bring down the tension. Yeah. But in some other places, maybe a state like Benue, that they need these vehicles to move farm produce and all of that, it might be a totally different scenario. So I understand that today NEC has set up a committee to liaise with labor on areas of disagreement. But I would like to just quickly say that in my state, for instance,
Anambra.
Yes, the governor approved the distribution of oil palm and coconut seedlings from the state. But do I tell you that people, leaders of the ruling party, ABGA, or Progressive Grand Alliance, they diverted these things to their members. Yes, to their members. I even challenged some of their officials. Now, what do you mean? Is this not, were these things not bought from the money belonging to the state?
And for the people.
And for the people. By the way, how much is this? Are these ceilings? 1,005. So is it that you people, you cannot exercise sense of reasoning that just something, 2 ceilings of 3,000 naira, you now turn into a party affair. So I can imagine what such people will do with 5 billion naira coming to Anambra State.
Okay. All right. Jide, just before we come to you, I hear we are going on a commercial break. We should be back very shortly. Please stay with us.
Joy. Unleash taste.
In today's world, our lifestyle, both at work and at play, depends on connectivity. Our connectivity depends on the devices that make it possible, and these devices depend on electric power. When power fails, our life shrinks, our work drops, and our joy dips. JRB Solar Energy Systems are here to ensure that we enjoy uninterruptible power, uninterruptible joy. Whether you're running a business, an institution, or just a home you return daily to rest, JRB has got you covered. No project is too big for our super digital inverters, long-lasting batteries, and efficient solar panels. Go. Dream on. Change your world. JRB solar inverters, batteries, solar panels, solar streetlights, and more. Telephone 0906 752 1111. Email sales@jrbsolar.com. With JRB, the sun's gonna shine on everything you do.
Welcome back. Yeah, Jide, your take on quickly on the subject matter.
I share the fears of Labour about some of our governors. The experience in the past does not make one comfortable. We play politics with virtually everything.
That's true.
There's no reason, for example, to keep these palliatives only for party members. Everyone feels the pinch of this subsidy, fuel subsidy removal. So whatever states will do must cut across political, religious divides. If we can't do that and do it successfully, then we have a bunch of irresponsible governors. People have genuine fears that these people, that they will be able to do it dispassionately without looking at where these people come from.
Once we talked about throwing money almost at everything.
Yeah, but this is not simply throwing money at everything. There are times when you need to spend money to get your country out of recession. In fact, I remember Obama saying we shall spend ourselves out of recession. And he committed so much money to infrastructure development. And that gave people jobs, construction sites all over the place, and people had money in their pockets, you know? So you can spend money to actually get out of recession. We've seen it with we've seen the American example. Now our people are in pains. There is no reason to, in the first place, we should have made plans for some of what we were just doing now. We should have done them earlier, before even the removal of subsidy. Perhaps we didn't know that it will inflict this level of pain on our people.
Yeah.
So at this time, distributing grains from the strategic grains reserve will go a long way. If it is dispassionately done, will go a long way in easing the pains of a lot of our people. So there's nothing wrong in taking money out of what we have saved. If we were able to save a lot of money from FAC this last month, we can spend some of that money to try to cushion the effects of this.
Spend it meaningfully.
Yes, let it go to the people who need it the most. It's not for some politicians to corner some of these things and ensure that it can only get to their own people. We saw what happened during the COVID era. You know, Ajero and Co were referring to it. But the problem in referring to this is that you assume that it's the same government that is still in power. You know, people are not bound to repeat what their predecessors, the mistakes their predecessors made. So the point that I'm making is we have to do our best to make sure that this gets to the poorest of the poor, because they are the ones who need the level of inflating that this can give us. Yeah. You know, not the people who are already rich. But at the end of the day now, I'm sure by the time, because the government expects them to buy grains and give to people. From this morning, people are hungry. So it's not simply, vehicles. No, at this time, that if you buy grains and you distribute to people, you discover that some people don't even know. As late as 6 p.m. on some days, some people have not eaten anything.
Yeah.
So if you buy grains and give to the very poor in the society, it will make some difference. They will be happy. But we don't know for how long this. We've been told that after a while, these things will stabilize and all that. But before then, we have to help our people to survive these very difficult times. And governors must fear God. I remember President Buhari saying that sometimes he asks himself how these governors sleep. Because realizing that you've not paid people 2 months, 3 months salary, and you are still able to move around. You are still able to move around like nothing has happened. Something is wrong with you. Come on. You've got to find a way. If there are governors today with what they are earning, still unable to pay salaries, then we know that those ones have simply made up their minds that they don't want to pay, or they are just deeply rooted in mismanagement of funds that they can't sort out the very important things. So I hope that having had what Labour said, having had the concerns of Labour, they will make up their minds that, look, we are going to disappoint Labour. We are going to do this in a way that goes
at least disappoint Labour until you see for once.
Yes.
And Emeka and Jide, let me tell them that ₦1 billion is 1 million in 1,000 places, and 5 billion to any state is.
Oh, it's significant.
1 billion.
Significant.
1 billion times 1,000 times 5. That's for.
And the states are not the same. Some are small, some are big.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to our next story. Make no mistake about it. The removal of subsidy on petrol was going to bring varying degrees of hard and harsh times to Nigerians. But President Bola Tinubu has talked in a highly enthusiastic and effusive way. He said the difficult phase Nigeria was going through was meant for a better tomorrow, comparing the difficulties of the pains of childbirth. They are necessary for the birth of a new nation. Cynics are afraid of a stillbirth, though I must say.
You see, these are difficult times. I don't think that many Nigerians can remember any time more difficult than this. At least there has not been any time when food prices were this costly. And you need to eat, first and foremost, before you even think of doing other things. Your survival is much more important than anything. But subsidy removal was extremely necessary to save us from fiscal collapse. We were on a fiscal cliff, and we have been warned repeatedly that at the rate we were going, if you are spending like 96% of your earnings on debt servicing, it's such a bad sign. And look at how much we are spending on subsidy. We barely had money for anything. There was a time that the former president wrote to the National Assembly to ask for as little as $1.5 billion, asked for a loan, $1.5 billion. And I'm like, this money, it's not a lot of money now. $1.5 billion. We should be able to find money for critical infrastructure. But once you pay for subsidy, there were even months that NNPC paid to remit a dime to the Federation account. So it was difficult. It was difficult. And you're obligated to service your loans. So this thing was a big problem, and Nigerians were warned that if we didn't do anything about it, that the country will go bankrupt. We'll go the way of Sri Lanka, go the way of Greece and the rest. And it was for this reason that all the presidential candidates, all the economists that I know, they want to say, look, subsidy had to go. Now subsidy is gone. The pains, subsidy on petroleum is gone. Subsidy on forex also gone, because to shore up supply of the dollar in the foreign exchange market, we are also subsidizing it heavily, because if the official rate stood at between 440 to 460, and it was trading at like 760 to 780 in the parallel market, it means that you are subsidizing it heavily. So part of what this government did was also to stop subsidizing the foreign exchange markets.
Good for us?
Good, because you can also use that money. They've been able to save, according to them, about maybe more than $2 billion within a short time. I think someone told me about this about middle of last month. So you can find some of the money that you need, that you can use to fix critical infrastructure without having to go take loan for virtually everything. You know? So, but how do you deal with the pains that come with these reforms?
Pains and pangs.
I was reading, I think, a Reuters report. They were predicting that they were sure that Nigeria at some point will stop these reforms, because the pains will cause the political leaders to want to push back, to say, Kai, we can't continue like this. Our people are feeling so much pain. But the danger in pushing back is that it will return us to perhaps even a worse situation than we were before. Now, in countries that slip into recession, growth is usually slow, but you have to be patient. And when you experience growth, you try to manage it and ensure that it's sustainable. But you can sometimes look at the way things are going and say, can we afford to continue? So I think this is the point that he's making, that there is no quick fix for the problems facing our country. This country had been left to rot for so long. It's just like somebody coming, somebody sent a message to my Facebook page saying, Jide Shebi, you said Lagbaja is going to kill all these people. You know, because they kill soldiers. So he assumed that Lagbaja in just under 1.5 months will just solve all these security problems.
Does that tell you, Jide, does it tell you Nigerians are impatient?
Of course they are. Because I do not expect...
Rightfully so?
No, not rightfully so. It's not every problem that you can solve like you are switching on electricity. No. Okay. Problems that have been there, you have to take your time to fix the problem, to solve the problem. But to assume, for example, that bandits that we have been dealing with, that we have been fighting for so long, a chief of army staff comes in, and within 1.5 months, you expect him to have solved the problem.
No.
He solved the problem along Kaduna-Abuja highway. When was the last time that anybody had that they kidnapped people there? But we are talking about Niger. Something happened in Niger, and they say, oh, Babajide, did you not say that this man is going to wipe these people? Oh, but I never said he will wipe them off within so short a time.
Oh, yeah.
You need to be patient and watch these things happen. What's this man's name?
Which one?
This is Shekiri man who is an economist.
Rwani.
Bismarck. He said Nigeria will begin to turn the corner in the first quarter of next year. And by that time, when foreign investors have seen that there is some stability in the foreign exchange market. And the reforms that have been introduced are taking shape. They will then be coming in. Well, we need that liquidity, that dollar liquidity that they are coming in will bring. We need to solve the problem of oil theft. It's a massive problem. Nigeria cannot. OPEC gave us our quota, 1.7 million liters, barrels per day.
Yeah.
We cannot meet it.
Because of theft.
Yes, in the month of June, we did 1.25
barrels.
Yes, per day, on the average. In the month of July, we did 1.08, which means it was lower than the month before. So look at how much we are losing. We are the only big oil producing nation that I know that is not making money from this war, over this war in Ukraine. So if you don't fix oil theft, you don't earn enough. And you don't earn enough, you have dollar illiquidity, because that's our main foreign exchange earner.
We must also,
and when you don't earn enough, when you have dollar illiquidity, the Naira will continue to slide.
And we must also solve the problem of power.
Yes. And all of this, it's not like somebody coming in and you assume that the next, maybe the next month, he has fixed the problem of power, electricity for everybody. No, these things take time. That is the message. But I agree that with people going through so much pain, they will be naturally impatient. They want to see results. They want to see results happen quickly.
Yeah.
And government must realize that it has that responsibility. Fix the problems as best as you can, as quick as you can. Resolve the issue of labor. You have agreed that, yes, there must be a new minimum wage. Do that quickly. Sit with the people and let them begin to see that, okay, you are solving this problem. Minimum wage, a new minimum wage comes, that will make workers happy. Workers are just, labor is just about 5% of our population. But they are still critical.
They are an integral 5%.
Yes, that's why I said they are critical, and you need to solve their problem.
Emeka, so yes, we have agreed Nigerians are impatient. And cynics would remind you and I that we are reaping what we sowed over time. But retooling will take a process. Are Nigerians ready to, be patient?
For how long? For how long?
Okay.
Because APC handed over to APC. That's where the problem is. If it was PDP to APC or APC to PDP, you might say, okay, maybe some policy reversals, but APC handed over to APC. If you remember under Buhari, people at a point were clamoring for the removal of the service chiefs. That look at what was happening, look at what was going on. It took him so much time to remove the service chiefs. He brought in another set, and it was the same dismal performance, failure. Until he got to the time of around, I think, Atahiru, the chief of minister who unfortunately died. There appeared to be some understanding of the critical issues, but unfortunately, before the man could really get his feet on the ground, he passed on. But what we are looking at now is that if we are asking Nigerians to be patient, one, for how long? Under Buhari, the same APC told us that Buhari was doing well, that everything was going fine. Are they now telling us that those things that were said that time, those things they said that time were false? Let people come out and really tell us that, listen, we had so much hope in Buhari, but Buhari failed. That's the same, what Fela sang about paddy government. Let's stop paddy because people are hungry. People are not happy. You can't tell a hungry man to be patient. For how long? His innards are really biting him, and you're telling him to be patient. So what I'm trying to say is this. You see, nobody is expecting that anybody will get into government and perform magic. No. What we are saying is that we cannot continue with the old ways of doing things. One critical thing is Nigerians have been unanimous in calling for cutting the cost of governance, the size of government. It's not difficult to do. It's not difficult to do. But when you see governors still moving about, people in office still moving about, some with 50 vehicles, 50 SUVs in one convoy, V8 engines. Do you know how many families that the fuel of one V8 engine can feed?
Yeah.
So those are the kinds of things that really make Nigerians unhappy.
Emeka, let me tease you a little.
Yes.
In the build-up to the elections, almost all the presidential candidates talked about tackling subsidy.
But in different ways, not in the same way.
Was there any way, do you think in your estimation, you could have removed subsidy on petroleum, on premium motor spirit without a backlash?
No, you see, citizen.
No, let's
situate this thing properly. Why have the 4 state-owned refineries, why are they not working? There are 20 licensees of refineries in Nigeria, including MPDC, that has the license for the 4 state-owned refineries. If we remember, one of the licensees some time ago complained on Twitter about how it had been difficult for them to really get to the point of starting operations because of massive theft, which Jide mentioned, that oil theft. So, in removing subsidy, that is one side of the argument. But the refineries must work. 2. Then 3, what kind of economic model are you pushing forward? Because you've seen what has happened. The NNPC GMD, Mele Kyari, said market forces will determine the prices. But the president, through his special advisor, came out and said, no, we cannot allow market forces only to determine this. And that was a problem. It has been a recurring problem, right from Babangida's time. Do we allow market forces to drive the economy? Do we just leave things to float like that? Should there not be any government intervention? Should this, should that? What I believe is, let us decide what kind of thing we want. It's not just about, okay, remove subsidy or do this and that. Yes, we must tackle oil theft, but we must also produce things locally, whether it is petroleum products, whether it is in the agricultural sector, whatever. Our factories must come back. You talk about that a lot, textile factories. We must make deliberate efforts to bring our factories back.
So
production.
You
can start producing. Then
engage people.
And then export. Because there are a lot of things in Nigeria that can actually earn us a lot of export revenue. But there is a big but. The ports must be sanitized. Because the wharf rats in the ports are doing a lot of damage. Somebody was just telling me this morning about some exports they did. I think it was maybe chips or something. And they packed in the container. But by the time the container got to the country of destination, so they found out that some of the products had been pilfered. So in terms of what was declared here, when they got there, it was a different story. And then things had been tampered with. You do not drive an economy by allowing petty thieves, criminals, to sabotage the system. I kept saying government has power.
Oh, yeah.
Non-state actors cannot be stronger than the government. Yes, it may take time, but you see, some of these things are not so difficult to do. Then look at these bandits, whatever they are. There must be a definite solution because they are part of the problem why food prices are high. It's not as if government takes this produce from the farms and goes to hide somewhere. A lot of these people, those are the ones riding bikes and working as scavengers or scraps. They should go back to the farms. So whatever government is doing, choose the kind of economic model that will help to achieve your programs. And then Nigeria is a very poor country. We cannot pretend that we are rich. Because a country, like you said, spending 96% of its revenue on servicing debts is on life support.
That's it.
But if we can choose to continue to pretend, Nigerians are not happy. Nigerians are hungry. So whatever needs to be done must be done quickly. So that at least let there be steps, let there be action. But not just floating the Naira. We must back it up with production. We must back it up with production.
And production will come if we stabilize electricity supply.
That's part of it. Yes, obviously. That's part of it.
And non-state actors becoming seemingly more powerful than government itself is frightening.
No, I don't want to believe that they are more powerful than government.
Or so it seems.
Seemingly, yes.
It doesn't, there is no evidence of that. See, in the Northeast, for example, no one would deny that there has not been tremendous progress. Before Christopher Musa left as a commander or theater commander of Operation Hadinkai, tremendous progress.
Absolutely.
These guys used to attack military bases, chase soldiers away. And I will come and talk about there are people who abuse me, pro-army people who abuse me. The soldiers hated me for that. But today we have nothing to report. If they don't overrun an army base or so-called, what they call it?
Super camps.
Super camps. Will I report it? Will I come and say that it happened? You know? But those things, improvement came. And when the heat was too much for them there, they started moving towards the North Central and the Northwest. So we have a big threat to deal with in the North Central and the Northwest now. So that is what is happening. And I believe that if the government, the new administration, I'd like to praise the last set of service chiefs. They did much better than their predecessors. And we can see now that we have improvement over there. Improvement will come in this other side too, but everyone must work hard for it. The point that we are making, what the president said is very, very correct. There is no quick fix to the problems facing our country. If we have a difficulty feeding our people, you cannot find a quick fix solution to that. Agri production must improve. That will ensure that, okay, we address the matter of food security. You know, education. So many children roaming the streets. How do we do that? We must come up with steps. And when we come up with steps that we are going to take, you don't expect to see an improvement in rapid fashion. It has to be graduated. It has to be incremental, just like that. People will see gradually that is happening. If we are talking about roads, okay, what are we doing? We now have Works Ministry standing alone. From the look of things now, we are earning more now. They will also have more money to work with. So that improvement will come. All that we can do is push the government harder to try to achieve some of the promises that it made.
Okay.
But there is no doubt that Nigerians can't see immediate solution to some of these problems, except they want us to go back to the subsidy era. And I don't think a government that is responsible will want to do that.
Jide, we must go. But I cannot forget at this point that the former controversial, flamboyant governor of New York in America said, politicians campaign in poetry, but rule in prose.
That's Randy Giuliani.
No, Mario
Cuomo.
Cuomo, yeah. All right, so, well, ours is just to mold opinion. I hope we have done our job. The rest is left to decision makers in the country. But let's thank Emeka Amado for coming.
Thank you very much.
And Jide for your time.
Yes, the Crown Prince.
Okay, of course.
Our man, Mike Okoche.
Oh, yeah, I heard Mike Okoche has...
our head of anchors and presentation.
Has left the service?
Yes, and is going to Russia to work. What a courageous man to work in Russia.
Takes more than guts. Okay.
Wow. So
Mike, we wish you well.
It's our effort for him today, and people are waiting.
Okay.
The inebriating stuff is...
All right. If you missed any part of this program, join us later at 11 for a repeat broadcast. On Sunday, we expand the field for you from 1:30 to 3:30. On behalf of the Backroom Boys, this is yours sincerely saying thank you. But remember, we're on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Citizen Jones Hussein. Bye-bye now.
Care for skills.